do it.
Eileen, are you ready? Mr. Jeffrey, come join the party, my friend.
Jake.
All right. I'm going to call to order the Public Health, Safety, Judiciary, and Ethics Committee. Roll call, please.
Alderman Catalano.
Here.
Alderman Jacob.
Here.
Alderman Messina.
Here.
Alderman Sorrentino.
Here.
Alderman Sismarski.
Here.
Here.
Alderman Eugene Wesley.
Here.
Alderman Roy Wesley. Alderman Woods.
And we do have a quorum. All right, I need a motion on approval of minutes of our meeting on February 11th.
I'll make that motion.
Second.
We need a roll call, or can we do the old all in favor of? All in favor of?
Aye.
Anybody opposed? And that passes. Report and recommendation. Chief, I believe you're going to take this one?
Sure.
Chief Vester.
Thanks, Mr. Chairman. So the first one is a request for a TG liquor license. As council is aware, the city council authorizes the number of liquor licenses that can be out there, and then the liquor commissioner, who is the mayor, is responsible for issuing those liquor licenses. So at the current time, we do not have any liquor licenses open. The TG liquor license, which is being requested here, was closed last January after Topgolf closed. So we do have applicants that are looking to open in partnership with the Park District over there for a restaurant bar. And they're looking for a Class TG liquor license, which is for a private vendor operating a golf course or golf-related enterprise on property owned by a unit of local government for sale at retail in and upon the premises for consumption only on the premises.
I'll make that motion to approve the liquor license for TG.
Second.
Any questions? Roll call, Eileen.
Alderman Catalano.
Yes.
Alderman Jacob.
Yes.
Alderman Messina.
Yes.
Alderman Sorrentino.
Yes.
Alderman Sismarski.
Yes.
Alderman Eugene Wesley.
Yes.
Alderman Woods, yes.
Let the records reflect
Second.
Alderman Woods is present and accounted for. And that passes.
All right, thanks. We'll work with the applicant for a application and a background check on that. The second one tonight is the business owner at 419 East Irving Park Road is looking to expand into the 417 East Irving Park location and open up an expansion to the current cigarette store that is there. And their desire is to have a Class P liquor license. The Class P liquor licenses are there's 8 of them currently issued, and that's for the sale of packaged goods, no consumption on the premises. So the applicants are here tonight, if city council has any questions for them. And you should have had the letter attached in your packet on what they were requesting.
Alderman Wesley.
First of all, we never had a tobacco shop in here ask for a liquor license. So
Okay.
it would have to go special use, so my recommendation is deny the liquor license at this time.
Is that a motion?
That's my motion.
It's got to be an affirmative.
Mr. Bond?
Yeah, you're just simply not increasing the Class P liquor licenses.
That's fine.
So you're not denying the mayor is the liquor commissioner and has the right to,
All right, so that's my motion then.
well, no, your motion is.
Can't make the-
You're not increasing, you don't.
I'm not increasing.
Increasing the number of Class P liquor licenses if you don't want to add additional liquor licenses to our city code.
Okay.
Alderman Catalano, did you want to
Yeah,
add to that?
there was other businesses that came forward in the past, and we've denied them also. I've had a few people from Georgetown Shopping Center, also a tobacco place, wanted a liquor license, and we told them we're not going to increase it. So, yeah, thank you.
Correct. Alderman Woods.
Thank you. Yeah, I mean, simply, it's not an approved use yet under our code, and this is kind of like putting the cart before the horse, approving something at like the Bulls drafting me on the intent that I was going to grow and get taller as opposed to being taller first, although I would like that scenario. It doesn't happen that way, so at this time, I think I would have to agree that we wouldn't really want to approve another, or open up another license.
Is that a second to the motion?
I'll second the motion.
Attorney Bond.
Yeah, just for purposes of clarity, so the motion would be a motion to increase the Class P liquor license. There's a second to do so, and if you don't want to increase it, you vote negative, you vote against it.
Okay.
So the motion would be in the affirmative.
Affirmative.
If that's your motion.
That's my motion.
If that's the second.
Seconder agrees.
Approves a motion to increase the liquor licenses.
Roll call?
Alderman Catalano.
No.
Alderman Jacob.
No.
Alderman Messina.
No.
Alderman Sorrentino.
No.
Alderman Sismarski.
Abstain.
Alderman Eugene Wesley.
No.
Alderman Woods.
No.
And that does not pass. Thank you, Chief. Items to be considered at future meetings, the Police Department's HVAC on May 13th, 2021. I know this is a difficult motion to make, but can I get a motion to adjourn?
So move.
Any second?
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
We be adjourned. Thank you very much, gentlemen.
I'd like to call the order of the Public Works Committee meeting. Minute taker, take note that the same council members are present. Need a motion to approve the minutes of April 8th, 2021, Public Works Committee meeting.
So move.
Do I have a second?
Second.
Any corrections to the minutes? If there are none, all in favor, say.
Aye.
Aye.
That
Aye.
motion carries. Next is a report recommendation. Approval of an agreement between the City of Wooddale and Arrow Road Construction Company for the fiscal year ending in 2022 Capital Road Program in the amount not to exceed $1,128,241.32. That is my motion.
I'll second it.
And that is, Director Lang, how many streets is that that price tag gonna take care of?
Thank you, Chairman.
Yes.
So the streets listed would be Edgewood from Foster to South Thorndale, Edgewood from Irving Park to Commercial, Balm Court from Edgewood to its dead end, Sunnyside from Wooddale Road to Oak, Oak from Montrose to Windsor, Walnut from Montrose to Windsor, and Elmwood from Montrose to Sunnyside, which is a reconstruction.
Okay, thank you. Any other questions?
Yes.
Go ahead, Alderman Messina.
I didn't see that one in there. You said Windsor to Sunnyside? They both run east and west.
I'm sorry, did I say Walnut from Montrose to Windsor, and then Elmwood from Montrose to Sunnyside?
Okay. That makes sense. Montrose to Sunnyside?
Yeah,
Both run
Montrose and
east and west.
Sunnyside run
Yeah.
parallel.
Yeah,
They both
they
run
run parallel.
east-west.
Okay.
Any other questions? Alderman Jacob?
And it did say that they had some, they did work in town. What project did they do in town before?
Arrow Road Construction has done the pavement along Potter Street as part of the Ward 2-3 stormwater project.
Okay, and we've had no issues with them? No.
No, correct.
Okay, thank you.
Okay, we have a motion, we have a second. All in favor, say, excuse me.
Oh,
you need a roll call.
Roll call, please.
Alderman Catalano.
Yes.
Alderman Jacob.
Yes.
Alderman Messina.
Yes.
Alderman Sorrentino.
Yes.
Alderman Sismarski.
Yes.
Alderman Eugene Wesley.
Yes. Sorry.
Alderman Woods.
Yes.
Motion carries. Next is approval and agreement between the City of Wooddale and Benchmark Construction for the Ward 2 and 3 Stormwater Improvement Project, Contract D, in the amount not to exceed $5,338,033.40. Director Land, you want to touch on that real fast?
Yes, thank you, Chairman. I just want to say, not only are we very pleased with the results of the bid opening, but we're also extremely encouraged from discussions that we've had with the IEPA, that they're willing to work with us to expedite the approval of the loan. They've indicated that we could have this wrapped up within the next 30 days. So assuming we will make the motion to approve this tonight, we'll bring it forth to the council for final approval at the May 20th meeting to have that formally approved. And that fits well into our schedule, as we cannot be on school property until mid-June, until school lets out.
Okay. And we're saving, what, an additional $2 million on this project?
Correct. The engineer's cost estimate was around $7.4 million, and the way the bids came in, the low bidder was $5.338 million.
And of course, we know, as you mentioned, that the project is time sensitive due to the school property. So what guarantees do we have to make sure that this project's going to be done on time?
Correct. Just like as in the last phase, where the stub was installed on school property, there'll be liquidated damages in the amount of $5,000 per calendar day for work that takes place on school property after the agreed-upon date.
Okay. Any questions? Alderman Wesley?
I have a question. So, does the school district have to sign off on this?
Yeah, I was just going to touch on that real quick. School district is on board with the project, obviously. We do have an IGA that's been ratified. I just wanted to reiterate for everybody at home that this was a really great example on two taxing bodies working together. In addition to the project coming in $2 million under the engineer's estimate, we actually saved a little over probably $1 million by the two taxing bodies working together. So this was a really great initiative for the city. And we've been fully, letting the school district know about the project every step of the way. They've been invited to all the pre-construction meetings. They're very informed on the project, and they're probably going to be, on site during our meetings. And it's just been a great working relationship. We've saved the taxpayers a lot of money, and we're very excited to work with the same construction company as the prior phase, because for a project of this magnitude, to have the very limited amount of resident complaints that we did was really just outstanding. It's been a great project, and we expect the next phase to be more of the same.
Okay. Alderman Jacob, thank you.
Seeing that the timing is sensitive, is there, if weather delays or something, I know we have something in place to penalize them, but is there some kind of contingency plan for the school? Because I assume they couldn't open school if that project wasn't done, or what?
Yeah, we've also issued an addendum to the contract that any work which takes place after students are back in school would have to take place outside of school hours, which would be, in the evenings or on weekends.
Okay. And their driveway would all be done and everything would be done for the buses to get in?
Correct, yes.
Okay, thank you.
Okay, any other questions? Okay, so I made a motion. We got a second on that, didn't we?
I'll second it.
You second it? Okay. Roll call, please.
Alderman Catalano?
Yes.
Alderman Jacob?
Yes.
Alderman Messina?
Yes.
Alderman Sorrentino?
Yes.
Alderman Sismarski?
Yes.
Alderman Eugene Wesley?
Yes.
Alderman Woods?
Yes.
Motion carries. And last is approval of the agreement between the City of Wooddale and Compass Mineral America, Inc. for the fiscal year end in 2022 bulk rock salt purchase in the amount not to exceed $84,375.20. That is my motion.
Second. I have a question.
Go ahead.
My question is, how much salt was left over from the last one?
We have approximately 256, you're saying left over from this last year to carry over into next year, correct?
Right.
We have approximately 256.12 tons of salts that will be stored on-site at Public Works,
Storing on-site or off-site?
on-site.
Okay. Any other questions? Alderman Jacob?
I know normally with the salt, the company always agrees to keep the salt for us off-site. Do we still have that agreement with them as well?
Go ahead.
So that's only if you don't meet the minimum purchase requirement of 80%. They store it at no charge for you to purchase next year. Anything which you purchased above that, which is not used, you are responsible for storing yourself.
Okay. Thank you.
Okay, I got a motion, and we have a second on that? Made a second, okay. And roll call, please.
Alderman Catalano?
Yes.
Alderman Jacob?
Yes.
Alderman Messina?
Yes.
Alderman Sorrentino?
Yes.
Alderman Sismarski?
Yes.
Alderman Eugene Wesley?
Yes.
Alderman Woods?
Yes.
Motion carries. Next is items to consider at future meetings. We have stormwater easement that's coming up May 13th. And I&I design work, also coming up May 13th. And Williams Architect Design Contract, also coming up May 13th. And patching program, that's coming up June 10th. And some pump program, this coming up this summer. And streetlight revised policy, that's also coming up this summer. Any other items to consider for future meetings? If there are none, make a motion to adjourn.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Motion carries. Thank you.
Next, I'd like to call the Finance and Administration Committee to order. Let the minute taker reflect that the same members are present. Now I'll entertain a motion to approve the minutes for March 25th, 2021.
So moved.
Second.
Any questions, corrections, changes? There being none, all in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? That passes. Next, report and recommendation, code amendment to administrative adjudication system. Mr. Bond, do you want to comment on that?
Absolutely. As you know, the city adopted an administrative adjudication system. Previously, all of the code violations were being handled by the circuit court in the Addison Field Court. The fact of the matter is that those were not a priority for the judges. They were hearing criminal cases, and so when somebody's grass was too long, that didn't exactly get their attention. Oftentimes, those cases simply got continued over and over again, and compliance really wasn't achieved. We were wasting time having staff sit over at the courthouse. So the system has been very successful in terms of bringing in code compliance. There is a municipal code section that authorizes these types of violations, and the section of the municipal code, state statute, is under 65 ILCS 5/1-2.14, gives the hearing officer certain powers. And one of the powers he has, which we do not have in our code, is the power to provide for injunctive relief. Currently, the hearing officer, administrative law judge, has the authority to enter a fine. If somebody violates our code, they enter a fine. And what you find is 90% of the people that I might be not exactly, but I mean, I'm close on my guesstimated percentages, come into compliance with the code. Some of them are more recalcitrant and they may not come in immediately. So what we end up doing is we give them a notice of violation. We take them into administrative adjudication. Some continue to persist in having these code violations, and others ultimately come into compliance. Some of them require a judge to enter a fine against them before they come into compliance. And you're familiar with some of the properties that we've had before you, because you get complaints from your residents and your constituents. So what this does, and we've had some that are repeat offenders where we get the same type of violations. Maybe it's every season they allow, something to collect on their property, and maybe it's just an ongoing continuous violation. So what this does is it just gives the judge, he's authorized by law to do it, but it gives the judge one more option in terms of penalties. So if you see the language that I'm suggesting, this would be, and we would amend section 18-207 of chapter 18, article 2, and it says in addition to and not in lieu of any penalty or remedy provided in the code. In other words, we're not taking anything away from the judge, we're just giving him one more piece of ammunition in his arsenal, and it says that the administrative law judge or a circuit court, and I'll talk about that in a second, whatever the case may be, may enter an order enjoining any ongoing or repeated violation of the code, or otherwise mandating compliance. So what it does is, this isn't somebody who's got a one-time thing, they built their fence without a permit, and we're gonna come after them, and all of a sudden, we're putting harsh remedies. What this does is it gives the judge an opportunity, if the building department says this is an ongoing, continuous violation, then the judge can not only be made aware of that and impose the appropriate fine, but also can enjoin them from continuing to violate the code. That's a very useful tool. The threat of it in and of itself is useful enough, but if the judge does have to impose it, so the judge simply saying, listen, I have the authority to do this, to enjoin you from violating that code, and here's what that means. I think that's a very effective tool for the judge to have if the city were to request it. And I think critically important is if you want an injunction in the circuit court, there are certain criteria. You have to show that you have no adequate remedy in law. You have to demonstrate that you have a substantial likelihood of success on the merits, and there's a number of criteria. I can go through, but I won't bore you. Of criteria you have to prove in the circuit court in order to do that. And we've had injunctions we've had entered for the city and for other units of government that we represent, but that sometimes could take, an injunction could take 30 to 45 days to impose. With this code provision, the judge doesn't have to go through and relitigate whether there's a violation. The judge has the authority to enforce our code under this section if you adopt this. And the judge can say, I'm going to enter, I'm not getting going through a lengthy hearing. There's a determination already been made that you are in violation of the code. I am going to enjoin you from utilizing your property. And we've had that done successfully. We had it was a dairy that was operating immediately adjacent to a residential property, and the judge enjoined them from violating the code, which was emitting this noise, and they had to basically shut down the operation because they couldn't operate at that noise level that was a threshold that was acceptable. So, you want to protect not only the property values of the city, but also the peace and quiet and peaceful enjoyment of people for their property. And again, this is probably going to be rarely used, but the judge right now doesn't have that available to him, nor would a circuit court judge. By amending the code to add this one paragraph, again, it doesn't take anything away, it simply adds one more option, and that option only kicks in if you have someone who has had an ongoing or repeated violation. So that's really who you want this is addressed to, and it's really limited to those circumstances. So it just gives you a much more effective tool in your property maintenance and making sure everybody's compliant with that code.
Alderman Jacob?
I like it, and I think it's definitely should pass, but one question I have is what if they don't listen to that? I mean, that one, do they have to go to court immediately to court, or what would happen then?
Mr. Bond?
Yeah, then we just go and you go to enforce that order. And so we do that, we've done that on a number of them. We've got some vehicles that were parked, and we got an order to enforce our order, which allowed us to go on the property and tow the vehicles. So this gives the judge, we go right to court, and then the judge enters, and the judge gives us permission to go on the property perhaps, to remediate the violation. The judge can then hold them in contempt of court, can throw them for civil contempt. They can put them in jail if they don't comply, or at least threaten to do it if they don't bring their property into compliance. So it opens it up for a much more efficient and cost-effective remedy. And in that situation, if we did that, then the offending property owner would actually be responsible for the attorney's fees incurred by the city in enforcing its own code, which we can't get.
Alderman Wesley?
So my question to you, legally question, so if they violated it once, okay, for 1 year, and they clean it up, and they back to the same thing the following year, and they clean it up, so what leverage is this that they didn't clean it up the first time? Does it go back to phase one again?
No, but what you show then is it's a repeated violation. It's either an ongoing or repeated violation. So it wouldn't be ongoing because they corrected it, although they let it get back in that condition. So it would be considered a repeated violation. So not only could we, if it's a violation where somebody doesn't have a business license, for example. Well, if they didn't have a business license in October of 2020, and we go and we get a judgment against them, we find that the administrative law judge finds against them, and then we have to bring, and they never come in and get a business license, we go in again, we have somebody from Mr. Cage's office testify, have they ever, from October until this date, have they ever had a business license? Certain violations, you can go back and the judge can say, okay, under Illinois law, it's a fine of $750 per day for every day that they were out of compliance with our code, up to a maximum per event of $50,000. And we have had, this administrative law judge has imposed fines of $50,000, I can assure you of that. So what it would do in that situation, it depends on the nature of the violation. If it's, their grass was too long, and then they cut it, and then their grass got too long again, that's a repeated but not ongoing violation, and we could only assess a fine for the days that we were able to prove that they were in violation of our code. So it really depends on the nature of the violation itself.
Okay.
I'll make a motion to approve the amendment to the administrative adjudication.
Second.
Any other questions? There being none, roll call?
Alderman Catalano.
Yes.
Alderman Jacob.
Yes.
Alderman Messina.
Yes.
Alderman Sorrentino?
Yes.
Alderman Sizmarsky?
Yes.
Alderman Eugene Wesley?
No.
Alderman Woods?
Yes. That passes. Next, items to be considered at future meetings. Presently, there aren't any. Is there anything anybody would like to put on? There isn't. There being none, I'll make a motion to adjourn.
So moved.
All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? We're adjourned.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Be safe, everyone.